You can see us on Facebook at MyMichelleLive, and you can find us at MyMichelleLive.com. Facebook, it'll just take a moment before we're rolling. I'll introduce you to our guest. Aha, there we go. See, I need an engineer that can do this for me, but today I am the engineer. I am the multitask master here. So give me a mo and we'll get this going. I want everyone to be able to see us wherever you're watching. And you can just look at my friend and his handsome face as we get geared up here. And here we go, because we're feeling good.
And I'm feeling good.
Oh, yes, we are. We're feeling good because I just had a great vacation. I was out and about. The world is starting to open up. I visited in Las Vegas, Nevada. I was in Houston, Texas, and I went to my birth town, New Orleans, Louisiana, which is the HQ of our guest, Matt Peel. He's the author of this book, Athlete in the Game of Life, a great book. It's not real thick, so it's not going to take you a long time to read it, but it could change your life. It can help you feel better and help correct some of the problems that you may be experiencing post-COVID and as you get older. Matt is a certified corrective exercise specialist. He's my buddy. In fact, he was my personal tour guide. We spent some time together when I was in New Orleans, and of course you see some of our posts in this program and at My Michelle Live. Some of the experiences there was absolutely amazing. Matt, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Michelle. How's everybody doing today?
Well, partially happy to be home and sleep in my own bed, but man, I was having such a great time experiencing the world again. We've all been shut down, shut out, and locked down for so long.
Right, right. And so long is the answer as we come upon what just passed the year of it. I remember vividly what was happening last year is I was at
Right?
a St. Patrick's Day celebration just going, man, this is it. This is it for 2 weeks. Nothing. Well,
Yeah.
2 weeks plus 50 weeks after that, right?
Right? No, I was very similar, but I had this feeling the world is never really going to be the same. I don't know if I'm just all doom and gloom or what my problem is, but I was thinking, I don't know. Things may never be the same. I'm just going to enjoy today because Lord knows when we'll be out again, and it's been a while. But things are starting to open up again. As we were talking just a few moments ago, we have Las Vegas. They're looking forward to opening. The Valencia was just sold for $6.25 billion because they really believe things are going to be on the upswing. Gambling's going to open. Things are going to happen. But right now, it's pretty dead. So there you go. The Bellagio fountain, though, my favorite, that's still going. So I was happy with that. And I could go across the street and get my favorite French onion soup from Mon Ami Gabby. That's great. Things in New Orleans are open. And as you and I were talking in the video before, yeah, some things are opening, but there's still some restrictions from the mayor. I didn't see a lot of those on Bourbon Street, though.
Well, everything is very subjective, as the case with most places. So at the end of the day, how much is a business willing to do? I know I have family out in Southern California in the LA area, and law enforcement is just saying, Gavin Newsom, I'm not going to listen to you because you're killing business unnecessarily. So they're letting things go. They're letting places stay open. They're letting them do what they need to do on a daily basis to keep their lights on, and pay their rent at home. And I really do think when it comes down to it, that's where the disconnect between politicians and actually us normal living people are. Their lives are paid for. They have a nice government salary. The rest of us have to go out and knock on doors and hit the
Huh.
pavement and earn a living. And so, the law enforcement, I think, and local agencies get that. They understand that. So they're going to do, as long as there's not a big, massive outbreak of people and gatherings and things like that, they're going to let it slide until a problem is called upon, and that's what's going on.
When I was in Houston, we know Texas has opened up. What I observed, and you're going to find this interesting as you're watching or listening today, uh, something's changed. Even though everything was opened up, you go into establishments, and to make people comfortable, the staff were still required to wear face masks, and there was still hand washing or sanitation, little stations and things. That seems to be what happens when you leave people to their own freedoms and devices. They tend to make choices like business owners. Hey, I want to be open, but I'm still going to make people feel comfortable. We may have people who have health concerns, so we're going to make sure we have masks at the door and they can sanitize their hands with that awful hand sanitizer, which we'll talk about in another show. There's better alternatives, people. Nonetheless, when you have freedom, I saw that in New Orleans as well. Some establishments, they didn't care that much, but they wanted to make their customers feel comfortable. So freedom looked a lot like people still being careful.
Absolutely. And if you let us make our decisions, then we're going to try to make the best things for ourselves and for our customers. And people, some aren't ready to just jump into free willy be open, and that's okay. But when you give someone the opportunity to do so, whether the business makes that decision on it, and then the customer base will tell them. If someone walks by and is very much against social distancing or masking and they see it inside, well, they're going to go somewhere else. But the vice versa is also true. If you want that and you go inside and walk by and you see that happening, well, you're going to go in. And at the end of the day, it's the customer, right, that is going to dictate how things go. And as we evolve and change and people get vaccinated and do whatever they want to, then we'll get that comfort level. And someone said, "We'll never return." That's a bunch of BS because because we're humans. We're going to go back to the same way we were before. And if you're saying, "Matt, you're a liar," give me 5 years and I'm willing to bet a limb on it that people will say, "Oh, yeah, I remember when that happened." As you look around and you're like this in a packed stadium or a concert
Oh,
hall, enjoying what you're doing.
I hope so,
So
man.
I think that's just not going to happen.
Let's just hope so, because I'm starting to think that maybe the politicians aren't buying into this as much as they say they are. Uh, John Kerry, who you know as the guru of climate, was actually flying around the same time I was. He was sitting in first class, but there's a nice picture snapped of him. He wasn't eating, wasn't drinking, but he felt it was okay to take off his mask. And we've seen that with other politicians, Nancy Pelosi getting her hair done and such. So, what we're really seeing is what humans really believe, that we want to be out and about, we want to be free. And what I wanted to get to, you have a lot of good information in your book about staying healthy, staying fit, being ready for the game of life. And as life opens up again, we want to be ready to play. I want to quote something from your book where you say, luckily for us, the human body is a wonderful machine. If treated properly, it can regenerate strength, coordination, balance, and build brain cells. And I think that's pretty important because some of us have been sitting on our other brain for a year and getting out and
Right.
experiencing life.
Right.
Well, you're starting okay, can I just share something real quick? I was watching my videos from all the walking I was doing in New Orleans, and the last video, I'm kind of waddling a little bit because my feet were so tired from all of the fun that I've been having nonstop. That's okay. That's a good kind of tired. But if you're not able to keep up with life, then there's a problem. Matt, you can help us with that.
Absolutely, I can. And it's about stretching. It's about strengthening just as much as about stretching and finding it is what you enjoy. One of the things I talked about back in January, and especially on your show, was that the reject the resolution part. We can't always deprive
Yes.
ourselves and continue to be happy. We have to do things that bring us enjoyment. And that's really what my book talks about. Are these are some ways and some ideas and philosophies that you can be better off if you incorporate into what you're doing on a daily basis to enjoy what you're doing at a higher level, whether it is hiking, street hiking, or hiking out in the mountains or the hills, or playing golf like I like to do on the weekends, or tennis, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. you can get back into that. Even if you've been sheltering in place or working from home and are afraid to walk out the door, there's things you can do inside your house that you don't just have to sit on your device all day.
I love that. Okay, first though, I kind of need you to do me a solid. I had been flying for hours. I mean, that's kind of a long flight going from
Hmm.
Houston, New Orleans. So, there's some things that people don't think about when you're sitting that long on an airplane. It's not only not great for you, it's not good for your heart, it's not good for your body, your circulation, but man, you can have kind of those plane strains. Can you help me out a little bit with some stretches I can do to feel a little better?
Sure, some things that we could do. Obviously, if you get up and go to the bathroom, even if you don't have to, sometimes it's good just to walk down the aisle and get out there. A couple things you can do. I'll try and I don't have a lot of room with the couch right behind me, but you can do some things with your arms. You can at least put your arms like this, like you're going to be super flex, but you're just going to rotate down and you can rotate them back up. And then you can feel that in your upper back and in your
Oh,
shoulders.
yeah,
It's a
I
good way
can.
to work your rotator cuff. You can even
Yeah.
put your arms out in front of you and then just bring back and again squeeze those shoulder blades behind you. That helps to keep you upright so you're not always leaned over in that position. You can just kind of rotate and turn your body and give a good stretch to your left and to your right.
Some of those things
Uh,
you can do right in your seat.
do right in your seat, even when you go and walk to the bathroom. And if you're standing there in that small stall, you can at least reach back, grab your ankle. You can't really see where I'm at, but grab your ankle, bring your leather leg so you get a nice stretch in your quadricep. Do that on each side. It only takes 10 seconds each. No one knows the difference. Hopefully, they're not pounding on the door waiting for you. But those are a couple of things that you can do to just kind of feel better along the flight.
Yeah, and that's really good. Yeah, I was talking. I've said this a couple times, and I had this on social media. Those little seats, they're pretty small, right? And if you're sitting next to someone who is more generous in their body makeup, where I literally had people sitting next to me on my flight that took up to one third of my seat, and I'm kind of squished over there. So getting up and getting out is kind of nice because that's not really good for you either to be sitting. They just really have you stuffed in there. So much for social distancing, right?
Right, right. It's back to the old sardine can, the Greyhound of the skies, Spirit
Yeah.
Airlines.
Oh
So,
gosh, I know, right?
but that but the good thing about that is people are out. People are out flying. I own some American Airlines stock. In fact, I just sold a little bit and made a little bit of profit because
Yeah,
it's up. People are out. Look at the TSA numbers.
finally.
People are out there. They're getting back out there. And as more vaccines happen, and hopefully wherever you're listening or watching in your state, you're to the fact of where almost everybody is eligible to get it. Get back out there. And that's what life's about. You don't have to go to Europe. There's plenty of things in the continental United States that I guarantee you haven't seen. I'm pretty sure there's a state you probably have never been to.
Oh
Why not
yeah.
go there?
I had the most amazing experience getting out, and it felt so good. Now, some of our problems, though, you mentioned, the vaccine and stuff, and some of us, like me, I'm going to choose not to. I admit it. There you go. You can email me and tell me how bad I am, but you also know that I'm talking about it on our show and giving you good information so that you can make the best choice for you. But what am I going to do instead? I'm going to have a healthy immune system. Now, something that you and I talked about when we were sitting there with the wind blowing in my hair on the edge of the Mississippi. Woohoo! And you as well.
Mine
Yeah,
too.
right.
Mine too. Mine too.
We were talking about you working with clients, helping people to get healthy because, the mask, there's a lot of evidence that says, yeah, it doesn't do much more than make you feel like you're safer. But what can really help you is that God given mask called our immune system. And we get that by being healthy, we get that by becoming more physically fit, active, and healthy.
Absolutely. And there was an article today that was on LinkedIn, and I put a pretty scathing anti comment about that. I was talking about gyms, for example, and them remaining closed, and they need to stay closed. And that is the opposite. I work in a health club, and luckily here, believe it or not, in Louisiana, one of the fattest states in the union, yes, our gyms were reopened back last May. How many outbreaks did we have of coronavirus? Had to close the gym? A big fat zilch show. Zilch, right?
What?
Zero. Right?
What?
We had group
Breaking news
exercise
story. Come
classes.
on.
Breaking news, right? We had group exercise classes. Were they all at the same old place before where you're like this on a Saturday morning? No. And that's okay. We operated within the restrictions and guidelines they set of capacity, but we stayed open. People came in. If someone did have a COVID, a member or a staff person, it wasn't publicized. I have no idea, but they just stayed away. There was nothing that made us have to close the doors. So it's false. It's lies, people, that these gyms and you have to close it and keep us unhealthy. No, get into the gym, get healthy, eat right, exercise outside, exercise inside. That is your best first defense. Who are the people that have the most complications from COVID? Are the ones that are obese, that have heart disease, that have type 2 diabetes, that are candidates for stroke in the first place. So one way you can reduce those risk factors is to take care of yourself.
Yeah, and you give us a lot of hope in your book, The Athlete in the Game of Life. You give people hope who maybe feel like they're past their prime, age wise and health wise, and reminding them, no, 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 wait a minute. Your body is made to regenerate. You can correct some of those aches, some of those pains before they get worse, some of the fears of hurting ourselves as we get older. All of those things can be reversed, and we can be healthy throughout our lives, and we can experience life and not be afraid to go out and live, live, live. Matt, this is his book right there. There you go. You can pick it up online. You can go to MyMichelleLive.com. There's a link. You can also go to MattPeel.com. There's a lot of good information, and Matt can be there to help you as well as he helps us here from time to time. Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome. Thank you.